The Flood. Biblical scholars and academics will tell you that the flood story in Genesis 6-9 derives most directly not from an actual event, but from earlier stories, according to articles in the Biblical Archaeology Society and other archaeological journals. Also, according to various articles as the one found in the Encyclopaedia Britannica entitled Ziusudra. A flood. Earlier stories, long before the Bible, are from ancient Mesopotamia. Stories known from the Gilgamesh epic and the Atrahasis epic. Note: King Gilgamesh ruled Sumerian, modern-day Iraq, in 2700 BC. The Gilgamesh epic is the oldest written story known to exist. The oldest existing versions of this writing date to circa 2000 BC, in Sumerian cuneiform. That according to the Epic of Gilgamesh, University of Idaho, and Britannica article, what was the first book ever written? In these stories we learn of a wise man named Atrahasis whom the god Enki saves from a cosmic flood by commanding him to build an ark, put all animal species on it, and save himself and his family. It is an 18th century BC Akkadian epic, recorded on various clay tablets. The biblical version of this older stories presents Noah as the flood hero. Many of the details are evocative of the Mesopotamian stories. An expert commenting on Noah and the flood as presented in the Hebrew scriptures concluded the following. It is clear that Hebrew tradition must have received its material from some previous sources, and that the writer of the biblical account proceeded to adjust the data to its own cultural and religious needs and concepts. There is archaeological evidence for various local floods in ancient Mesopotamia, since the Tigris and Euphrates rivers occasionally flood. Even a relatively small flood can be catastrophic if it kills many people in your village, and from this local trauma a story can grow and grow, until it takes on cosmic proportions. Finally, it made it into the Hebrew writings. The implications are far-reaching. For example, in the Gospel of Matthew, the words in chapter 24 verses 37-39 are credited to Jesus. As it was in the days of Noah, so it will be at the coming of the Son of Man. For in the days before the flood, people were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage, up to the day Noah entered the ark, and they knew nothing about what would happen until the flood came and took them all away. That is how it will be at the coming of the Son of Man. If it is true that those words came from the mouth of Jesus himself, and if, as demonstrated by the vast majority of scholars and archaeologists, the story of the flood is a myth, an imitation of other ancient stories, it would be clear that Jesus, and all his contemporaries, were brainwashed by the story registered in the book of Genesis about the flood. The people of Judea, including Jesus, believed that everything written in the Hebrew scriptures was inspired by their God. Today millions of humans also believe the same, that the whole Bible is inspired by the same Hebrew God. They say, it is all true and infallible. As Jesus was, today millions are also brainwashed by the doctrines of all the religions based on the Bible. No only that, but millions of people in our day have expectations based on those mythological stories. The expectations of Jesus and his early followers, and also of Paul and his followers, did not happen. Neither the expectations of today religious people have happened, and would never happen. It is all a lie. Is the manipulation of the human mind. Nevertheless, believers are kept in slavery and in continuous doctrinal ecstasy under the strong influences of the doctrines and dogmas of today's religions. What a waste of human freedom, time and resources.